Okay. I want to discuss this murdering Christians crap that he's put like 3 videos out now. See, he's not telling you the whole story. Yeah, the Christians will eventually be murdered, but not on his timetable. And what I'm about to do is I'm going to explain to you what's really going on, what he's not telling you. Um, his videos are gone, but every now and then he'll wear a little plaid thingy here, which signifies uh, Celtic origin, meaning he's either involved with the Masonic order or he's into some type of druidic, Wiccan, you know, witchcraft, whatever. It makes no difference. It all stems out of the Kabbalah. It makes no difference. So he's telling you that Christians are going to be murdered and it's starting up, and he wants people to pick a day and he's going to murder all these people. Well, here's what the real story is. See, I call them the big four. Yeah? Four. The Nazis, the Jews, the Masons, and the Vatican. They're the big four. And incidentally, they all worship the planet Saturn. If you go Google, you'll see that the Pope wears a Saturn hat. And his job, and this is his job, is to sit on a throne there until Satan returns. Satan and Saturn are the same dude. The Jews, their flag has a hexagon on it. The hexagon is a two-dimensional version of the three-dimensional black cube, which represents Saturn, which that in turn represents the tree of life, which is the planet Saturn. And that's sitting in the UN prayer room. Please go Google the UN meditation room and see the big black cube in there. The Masons logo is a V that goes down like this and a V that goes up like that. That is the seal of Saturn. Okay? So we have to remember that in history, in World War II, Hitler made himself the end-all be-all of the occult, and he was a member of the Order of the Black Sun or the Dark Star, and that was all Saturnalian worship as well. So here you have four organizations that worship the same thing, and it's like 4 big mafia groups, basically. And what happens is when one gets a little bit more power than the other via money, whatever, they push their agenda. They all want world domination. I mean, this is maybe, they have different agendas, but they all want world domination, and so they're all biding their time to try and get it. They're like pirates on a ship. See, they're pirates on a ship, and they'll work together to a certain point, but then they're going to start cutting each other's throats. So what's with the assassination or the murder of the Christians? There was the Masons. The old order was called the Knights Templar. They went to Israel. They dug under the Temple Mount. They found some very, very powerful Kabbalistic writings, which show you how to manipulate time and space. They brought it back. They became very rich because obviously they were showing some other people. And the Catholic Church became very indebted, monetarily wise, to the Masons. And because they could not pay their debt, they plotted and spread the word that the Masons, or the Templars, we'll just keep with Templars, were Satanists. Okay? And so the Pope called for the murder of a lot of these guys, but one in particular, which sets this whole thing in motion. His name was Jack de Lamennais. He was the Grand Master of the Knights Templar, and they murdered him. And the Masons, or the Templars, swore that they would not cease until they had destroyed the Vatican and any faction thereof, meaning anything that's affiliated with the Christian. Now, back in those days, everything was affiliated through the Catholic Church. And I'm not even sure, I'd have to go back and check the dates, if Lutheranism had even been established. But it makes no difference. It's an offshoot of Catholicism. However, to deem anybody that's in the Christian religion, because most people that are uneducated thinks that is the Christian religion. It's not. I'm a believer. I'm not a Christian. I'm not affiliated with the Christian church in any way, shape, or form, because they've been duped like everybody else by the same 4 powers that I just mentioned. That's why it's called the King James Authorized Version. Because if you had the unauthorized version, I don't think you need your hat any longer. Your head would be cut off. So there's this war going on between these four factions. Um, for verification, go look up, go Google P as in Paul, P2 Lodge, P2 Lodge. That was an assassination attempts of the Pope. They shot him numerous times. It's a very, very well-known case because it involves the intrigue of the occult and, you know, political and social agendas and a whole bunch of stuff. But it's the same thing as what this guy's talking about. That, you know, that we're all going to be murdered. We will, and I'm going to explain to you when that's going to happen or how it's going to happen. I don't know the date. Unlike this guy that seems to know that more than the Almighty, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, before any of this can come into fruition, the Jews, or Israel, has to sign a peace accord with the rest of the Middle East. Now, this is going to be a worldwide event because for years and years and years, the Middle East has been at war with those people, and it's been a very destabilizing event throughout the planet. So this will be on TV. It hasn't happened yet. This will be set in motion by the Antichrist, whoever that is. Halfway through, which it's a 7-year treaty. Halfway through, at 3.5 years, the treaty is broken. So now Israel's completely surrounded by its enemies. The treaty is broke, which would mean either A, the United States, which strongly supports Israel, is not here, or B, the United States will have joined the ranks to annihilate Israel. I'm pretty sure the United States won't be here. That's another video. So what happens is the Jews start getting the shit kicked out of them, just like it says in the Bible. And this all goes back to basically the revenge of Cain. Because when he killed his brother, he was stripped of his inheritance. He was stripped of any and all things that have to do with anything good. He's not even listed in the book of life. So he goes after his kinfolk first, which is the Jews. And it says that the Jews, some of them escaped to a place, and I don't know if it means Kabbalistically, in a spiritual realm, or if it's literal in a physical sense. They go into a place where the Antichrist can't get them. And so he gets so enraged, he turns his anger on the Christians. Now the Christians will be beheaded. Okay? Now that will set the precedent. But that's not happening yet. This guy calling for the murder of Christians, you know, is like me calling for the winning lottery number. It ain't going to happen. There is a war going on between the Vatican and the Masons, or the Knights Templar. Same thing, just different eras. Just like the Nazis were in the old days were called the Teutonic Knights. And now they're called the Nazi or the Aryan. You've got the Knights Templar, which are now called the Masons. So there's this war going on. They're just like mafia gangs, and they'll all work together to a point, but when one thinks he can get ahead, he's going to take it. So here's this guy that's running around calling for the murder of Christians, and yet his YouTube account has been disabled, and he can't get his messages. And I just want to bring this up because I think this is vaguely important. That this guy would just obviously, just in his mind, he thinks that Christians would just stand there. See, there's one thing we all have in common, including this guy. We're all human. And the way that we're programmed is that we're supposed to do everything that we can, whether we like it or not, to stay in this realm of life, which he considers death. Nobody's going to stand there and get mowed down because there's a connotation attached to him like Christian. Because a lot of the Christians belong to the NRA. That's people that have guns. They love their family. And basically they want to live. So if you have any ideas that you're just going to come trouncing in, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. We have to understand that people at the very bottom, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, we're animals. Half of us is intelligence, the other half is animalistic. And the same man that will pray to pray to the Almighty God, and excuse what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. In the next moment when he's in a battle for his life and death, we'll yell, God damn it, you motherfucker, I'll kill you, you fuck. Excuse the language, but that's the way we're wired. So, for you, who thinks that you're just going to come storming in and you're going to kill us, remember that we have the same desire to live, I guess because you're already dead, is according to you, early, that we just going to stand there and get slaughtered, right? And so you're going to come kill us all, but you can't get your messages on YouTube. Well, I'll tell you what, you get your messages on YouTube all straightened out, and then we'll see about trying to take out London. This is the goofiest shit I ever heard. There's a war on between the Masons and the Vatican. And this thing about pedophilia, I don't know if you got raped as a kid. I ain't never seen somebody you mention that so many times that as you do. Either it's one of two things, dude. Either A, you got raped as a kid, okay? Or B, you're into it. Nobody talks about pedophilia that much. I'm so far removed from the crap, I don't even know what to think about it. So if that's supposed to make people incensed, see, let me explain this before I get off. In the occult, there's rituals that they go through, and second to sacrificing a virgin, which could be a boy or a girl, that comes down to they don't have any emotional baggage. It's like pure cocaine. It's the energy rush that they get off of what they're doing. But second would be sexually violating a kid. See? And when you violate a kid, there's a certain energy that's given off because they're scared. And so when that happens, and it happens in politics, it happens in the religions, it happens more at the top than it does down at the bottom, you know, of the elitists. It's up here. It's not so much down here. It does happen. Incest happens. But on a ritual level, that's up here. Because you have to know certain occultic things to make that work, to communicate with other things. That's what all of that's about. But just to close this out here, you're calling for the murder of people. You're talking about killing this person and that person. You know, go get your fucking YouTube account fixed and then come back. Because this is just whatever. I don't even know what to say.